order the Village of Vernon Hills Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for Wednesday, June 6th, 2026. We'll start with a roll call. Commissioner Cotton? Here. Commissioner Fluno?
Here.
Commissioner Heidner?
Here.
Commissioner Hendrick?
Here.
Commissioner Nabbit?
Here.
We have a quorum present. Commissioner Kilidar and Chairman Morris gave prior notice that they wouldn't be with us this evening. Our first item, before we move on to the business on the agenda, is we need a motion to nominate a chair pro tem for this meeting.
I move to nominate Jim Heidner as chairman pro tem.
And do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion made by Commissioner Cotton, seconded by Commissioner Nabbit. Commissioner Cotton?
Yes.
Commissioner Fluno?
Yes.
Commissioner Heidner?
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick?
Yes.
And Commissioner Nabbit.
Yes.
So the chair pro tem for this meeting will be Commissioner Heidner. With that, I would hand it over to you.
Now we'll open
Go grab the sign-in sheet while you do that.
the meeting to the general comments from the public. And Andrew's going to get the list of people who wish to speak. And we ask that when you speak to come forward to the microphone, either the handheld ones or the ones that are on the podium here.
So by way of procedure, the general rule for public comment is that you'll be given 3 minutes. The exception to that would be if you're here to speak on behalf of a larger group of people, we can be, of course, lenient to make sure that the group is represented properly. The first name, Jim Fields. Please come forward.
My concern is American Hotel Register thing behind us there. My home backs up to that. I've lived there 52 years in that home. And I'd like to talk to you about the hours of operation that's going to be there and the truck route. And if it's possible, is there any way possible between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. that there's no traffic at all, or no trucks at all? Because every time one of them backs up, it's beep, 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 beep. We've been through all that, the truck noise. And the other thing is the road that's on here says that they're going out to Milwaukee Avenue, where there's exits onto Milwaukee Avenue. Between Milwaukee Avenue and Woodbine Circle is just about 100 yards. And where they just pull out is the area that says the right lane must turn right. That's what it states today on the highway, Milwaukee Avenue. The other thing is, how do you think this is going to affect our property values by putting this in there? We had a 22% increase this year on our property taxes. And I think that's a little high, and I just wonder if anything can be done to help us there. I want to thank you for having the meeting and giving us an opportunity to come and express our condolences on what's going on with this plan and what can be done about it and the changes. Back in the 80s, we had a problem there with not getting any water and annexation and so on. A guy came over to talk to us, a guy named Roger Byrne. You may have heard of him. He came over, and I want to thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next name on the sign-up sheet is, I'm sorry if I get this wrong, it looks like Doug Flater.
How are you? I live at 15950 West Woodbine, kind of the inside. My question, just like Jim Fields, is that access road, will there be a light put at North Woodbine for when those semis come out? I mean, essentially that's North Woodbine's turn lane now heading south Milwaukee, if the semis are pulling out and that's their acceleration lane, how is North Woodbine supposed to pull out to go north on Milwaukee? And then again, the hours of operation. You know, when American Hotel was running or whoever was renting the last building right now, the warehouse right now, it was all hours of the night, backup alarms, fifth wheels banging into trailers. I mean, it's just, you know, the wall that's there now, the vegetation that's there now doesn't hold a candle to any noise. I mean, you can hear it throughout. So, you know, it's kind of, you know, disheartening that that's what's going to go over there, knowing that Woodbine was there well before American Hotel was put there and that the village rezoned that for that. You know, they took a farm and made it a concrete jungle and now it's gonna continue to be that. So, but safety is our thing with the turn in, turn out, especially since South Woodbine got turned to be only southbound Milwaukee exit or southbound Milwaukee entrance. So we really only have that north to leave, to go north. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you. With the two folks who signed up having spoken, is there anybody else who would like to speak before we move on to the first item on the agenda? And just by way of procedure, we'll get through the first item of the agenda. You're all welcome to stay. It is a public meeting. As I mentioned earlier, the procedural rules for that next item don't allow us to reopen public discussion on it. That doesn't mean that the petitioner who's sitting here didn't hear what you said, and they can certainly respond when it's their turn to present. So thank you all for coming out and providing your comments on this. Just from the village standpoint, I do want you to know the last time a project was proposed on this site, all of the feedback that you all provided at that point was given to the petitioner in this case, and it really formed a lot of the design decisions on their plan, and I'm sure you'll hear that from them in just a few minutes. But with that, we will move on, closing the general comment and move on to our first item.
Okay, the first item on our agenda is the public hearing for case 2026-09. It's a petition by the Tree House Play Cafe to operate a child's recreational facility. It requires a special use, and they're also looking for a variation on their signage. And if you'll identify yourself.
Yes, I'm Mike Ferguson. I do not live in Vernon Hills. I live at 2571 Birch Drive in Round Lake.
Is anybody else going to speak on behalf
Just
of the
myself.
petitioner? Okay, if you raise your right hand.
Yes,
Do you promise, you swear or affirm that what you present tonight will be the truth?
absolutely.
All right, you're on.
Thank you. You should have a packet of information. I tried to be as thorough as possible. I think it ended up being about 14 pages, so I'll apologize in advance if it was too thorough. I don't want to hold up too many of the other folks here because I know you got a big project second on the agenda, but we are the Treehouse Play Cafe. We operate out of 2 locations currently. We have a location in Lake Zurich that has been open since 2008. That was under previous ownership. It unfortunately closed during COVID, but fortunately to us, we brought it back to life in 2022. We operated that successfully for a few years and opened our second location in McHenry. We actually got a ton of support from the community on bringing it to McHenry, and the reason that we were there, we give a lot of credit to the mayor and their economic development team who reached out and said that we were called out by name when we were actually looking at other villages to move our second location into. And here we are today looking to expand into a third location, which geographically would give us a nice spread across McHenry and Lake County, pull in a lot of folks from Libertyville, Lincolnshire, probably through Grays Lake up into Gurney, and more of that eastern population, which doesn't necessarily make it out to Lake Zurich. The former space that we were looking at, and we actually got our lease back today after our red lines. They were sent back today. I haven't necessarily seen if they were all approved, but we're fingers crossed that they are. Is the former Party City. I think it's been vacant for a little bit of time now because Party City ran into their own financial trouble. This space is approximately 2,500 square feet bigger than our McHenry location, which is about 2,000 square feet bigger than our Lake Zurich location. So each time we expand, we need a little bit more space for bigger and cooler play equipment, more storage. You'd be surprised how much storage we need with all of our holiday parties, events, and decor that we change through seasonally. So today, yes, we come to you seeking approval to open the Treehouse Play Cafe in our now third location.
And there are a couple more slides. If you wanna
Yeah,
just kind
yeah.
of describe the.
Yeah, I don't want to go through like the intro narrative and, you know, the special use, all the answers that I already gave you. The Treehouse Play Cafe, how we operate, we are a climb-through play structure. We are not a trampoline park, we are not an inflatable, we don't have either, not in any sort of capacity. It's a great learning opportunity for kids, both socially and physically with their development, to get through and climb and exercise. This is the picture of our McHenry location. As you can see, the tree right center of our location. This goes all the way back to the wall. It's about 4 rows deep. From the front of that tree to the back wall is about 30 feet or so. And then to the left there on that picture is our bigger slide that comes out about 38 feet. We will use the same play equipment manufacturer. They meet all safety and standard issue. It's actually comical in a sense because when we talk about other things, they mention play equipment that is not up to their own standards. But that steel is, I don't recall, I'd have to look at my notes how thick it is, but we've been told we can park a semi on top of it if we wanted to, which won't be necessary. Outside of the play equipment, we will have 2 play spaces. This is one of them. I think I sent maybe a picture of the other play space. We have a smaller kids section that will be 3 and under, ages 3 and under. That section is completely gated in with a magnetic-based fence. The fence is, you know, mesh on the front. It's not steel or anything. It's mesh on the front, but it's closes via a magnet to keep kids safe and inside. Our little kids area will take up about 1/3 of the total kids play space, and that is about 46 by 26 will be our little kids play space. We have plenty of seating throughout. We'll have 3. As you can see here, the play area is up on the right. The bigger play structure will be throughout on the left with ample seating. The 2 couches on the left might get consumed by more play structure just to fit our bigger slide. That's in discussions now. But generally speaking, this will be our layout with 3 party spaces to host up to 3 parties at a time. A much larger cafe space for serving coffee and snacks, as well as we will have an electric grill in the back to heat up our grilled cheese themed menu, which we get told is very good for a play place. It's not just prepackaged snacks and potato chips. So we do operate that kitchen pretty strongly. We have a corridor that will lead with storage all the way to the back with the break room and more stock in the back. We are adding into this play space a 3rd toilet. So each of those bathrooms now only has 2 toilets. We will be expanding it out to make it a 3rd, and we're adding a general family bathroom. That's that unisex bathroom there. I actually had a conversation with a lady who had a stroller and was like, will your new location have a bigger bathroom? I'm like, well, we're actually gonna have a 2nd bathroom for families. We'll have a mother's room as well and an office in the back. The entire suite, or the entire property, will be covered in cameras, about 25 to 30 cameras, as well as an alarm system. Entry for the facility is in the bottom right-hand corner. That's the existing, like, transition, I guess you'd call it, space, with 2 sliding doors that you'd enter into cubbies.
Are you occupying the same exact footprint as Party City?
It will be the exact footprint. Today, Party City is basically a rectangle, and then they have a wall that divides it, right? And then behind that wall is all of what they would have storage, I would assume, for all of their goods. It's an office in the back, as you see. We don't have to change any of that, and everything inside of that wall, so if you take out where their back storage is approximately the same footprint that we have in McHenry. So if you basically take the whole thing minus where that break room is, the stock room is, and the bathrooms, that inside area is what we would have in McHenry to work with. We have a very, very similar footprint. So pretty much what we're adding is the bathrooms, more break storage in this corridor in the back. But yeah, it will be the same footprint. It's approximately 12,000 square feet.
Anybody else?
It says that you're going to be serving liquor? or
We will,
beer.
that's our hope, yes. We do in our first 2 locations.
Can you explain why you would be doing that for
Yeah,
a 2 to 10-year-old?
We have our 3 kids here in the visiting with us. So we started this as parents in 2022. So 4 years ago, we had a 2, 4, and 6-year-old. My wife was coming out of teaching, and I was still in corporate America. And everybody coming out of COVID was saying, what are we going to do with our kids? Like, we're all sick and tired of being at home, especially teaching kindergarten while having 3 kids doing e-learning at home. We're all looking to go back out. And as parents of 3, we thought to ourselves, if we were going to open a kids' play place, which we always had ambitions to do, how would we make it as great for both the kids and for the parents? So we have this really great play structure that is extremely safe, and the one in Lake Zurich has been there since 2008, and it's still standing strong. It's not something that you get from overseas that you have to worry about falling apart every 5 years or having repairs. So we've covered that basis. Then we said, how do we make this great for adults? And the question that how we answer that is, we don't want busy, crazy themed colors where it's bright, and that just wasn't going to be something for us. We have 3 open party spaces. So when you go and have a birthday party, that you can sit there and you can see your kids. As you can see from any of the party spaces, you should see the play equipment. There's no part of that that you would be locked inside of a room with 4 walls, that you're in there for an hour and your kids are out playing. So you'll always be able to see your kids. And then the final question is, well, how do you make it even one step better? And that was with a liquor license. So we got it in Lake Zurich, and then we got it in McHenry. It overall acts as less than 5% of all of our sales. We'd be surprised if we sold 1 drink today, you know.
Is it beer and wine? Is
It's
it more
beer
than
and wine. We have gotten both full liquor, the full liquor license, like an A1 or Class A. And what that allows us to do is have like a spring spritz. And if somebody doesn't want a can of Modelo, or a can of something else, or, you know, a glass of wine, then they can sit there and relax and have a spring spritz. We don't do shots. It's not like Jack and Cokes. If we offer any sort of mixed drinks, it's a one-time seasonal drink that we would have.
So, quick
Or a
question.
Bailey's and coffee, sorry.
So if the parents are drinking, the kids are unsupervised?
No, we don't have we have no sort of drop off. So it's the parents' responsibility to always supervise their kids. There's no drop off service. Again, anywhere you sit in one of these chairs, you will be able to see where your kids are at all times. So it's not so big like some of the recent ones that have come out that are 30,000 square feet where your kid runs off in the back and you don't ever see them. The play equipment, how we're designing it even for Vernon Hills, is to be less deep, so there won't be these layers that you might have to have trouble seeing through. And we're making it wider because we're getting rid of the mother's room and the office that would have sat in the middle. So it's actually thinner and wider, which will have about the same amount of play space.
For what it's worth, our family has been to there. I don't know this man, but we've been to your Lake Zurich location, and the model works very well, in my opinion. And I guess I would say, just to the alcohol questions. I mean, like I look at like Dave and Buster's, they serve. They have a huge bar. They serve a ton of drinks, and I've never felt like even there that things get too crazy to have kids with. I think it's a nice option for parents to have. I have three kids myself. One of them is a 3-year-old. It's not the worst thing to be able to have a beer while also supervising her. So just for what it's worth, my perspective, I've seen their location. I think it works well, and I don't have any concerns.
Yeah, we of course get the families who are against it. I mean, that's understandable. I would argue that you should never go to a restaurant then, because you have the same option to sit with your family and have alcohol while your kids go there, or don't go to the bowling alley. because I know most bowling alleys have a bar. There's 1,000 outside events that happen every year, whether it's at a park or somewhere else that they have a beer garden or things. So like, don't go watch fireworks if like that's your concern. There's about 100 different things that you do with your kids that you don't even realize that alcohol is an option, whether you bring it yourself or have an option to buy it. Most of our families that come to visit are there for 2 hours or less. At that point, you know, you've watched the football game that we'll have on the weekends, or your kids have just had enough and it's time for a nap. So parents are in and out in 2 hours, and it's not like they're putting down 7 or 8 drinks. We're also closed Monday through Friday by 5 p.m. Thursdays is open till 7. So 7 p.m. right now is the latest that we're open. So it's not an evening activity place where drinks are being consumed from 7 p.m. till 11:30 at night, when I would assume that most people who drink are consuming them. So
If you're having a birthday party, some sort of
Yeah.
a event with a bunch of people, do you have like staff or a host that would kind of manage that party?
yeah, we always have a manager on site. All of our staff is Bassett certified. We have at least one food manager on site at all times, and that may not even be the manager, but we always manage. There's always at least somebody 21 or older. We only host 2 to 3 birthday parties at a time. Because we outsource things like our pizza to Rosati's, we're not tied up in the back, making sure that a lot of those things are prepared. The most that we would have to do is prepare like a sandwich platter the day of, fruit and veggie, or things that we can prepare for ahead of time. But yeah, it's always staffed. We generally have at least one person walking around on the floor, and that person's responsible for birthday parties or keeping the big kids out of little kids section. But it's always being monitored. Again, to my point about it being 2 hours, that's the same as our birthday parties. They run 2 hours at a time. So if you came for a birthday party, I don't know if you had one there, but they run for 2 hours.
I came to do work.
We have great, very expensive internet, so if you want to get some work done, the parties are 2 hours. So 10 to 12, you're not going to bring in a big drinking crowd from 10 to 12. Maybe somebody will have a mimosa because you're catching up with your family member, cousin, or sister who you haven't seen in a while, and you share a drink, and your kids made it another lap around the earth and you survived. So that's a congratulatory time to have a drink. 1 to 3 and then 4 to 6. And at that time, you know, people are going out, they're having food with their party, and then they're heading home.
You may have mentioned this already, but your party rooms, are they like half walls?
Yeah,
They're
so
open?
in front of so where it says corridor in each of the party room C and party room B, you'll see that there's almost like an 8-foot opening in between to get in and out of those spaces. Those walls all the way across, and if you drew a line there, those walls will all be, we call them bar height. They're 42 inches, I think, or 48 inches. They're about this tall. The same with party room A. When you're looking out, those walls are, you know, just high enough to sit on like a stool, and you have a little counter in front of you that you can look out. The same within the party room A into the little kids area. We'll have high top seating that you can sit and actually look and monitor your kids while you're working from your computer and your kids in a gated area playing. So we're very big on sight lines to be able to see everything.
So there's nothing above that half wall? It's not glass or anything? It's just open?
Nope. Yeah, I mean, no. The answer is no. Where around party room B, around that corner, which goes by the coffee bar there, which goes around the corner, that one will be 6 foot tall and then drop down. So even at the front there, you'll be able to see over to the cafe. So they're semi-private party spaces that during the week when we're not hosting parties, families can still sit in there, enjoy a high top, sit, and see the whole entire space.
What is your model? So you come in with your children or grandchildren. Can you stay all afternoon, or is it like?
Sure. Yeah, so from a business perspective, our model is we generate revenue from open play, which is $17 admission today, and it gets you all-day play. You can leave and come back. Our admissions are also good across our other locations. And within that model, a subsection of that is our memberships. We have a membership program that after you come twice, it pretty much pays for itself. You can come 7 days a week if you want. Your kid might get a little sick of it, but you'd be surprised that we do have families that visit, 4 or 5 times a week because they're looking for 2 hours. But yeah, $17, all-day play, come and go as you please. So if you want to go take a nap, if your kids need to take a nap, or you want to come back and have dinner, that's one stream of revenue for us. We have the birthday parties, which mostly happens Saturday, Sunday for those 3 time slots. And then the third would be our cafe that's offering what we call as big kids and little kids meal options. And then the coffee side of things. We pride ourselves in trying to keep as many things as we can local and support other family-run businesses. So we get our coffee from a place called Tugboat Coffee, which is just outside of Schaumburg, whatever's south of there by Itasca, one of the suburbs out there. Great guy, Eric. So, yeah, that's our business model. We want, again, we joke and we say that kids will go play in a dumpster. I mean, honestly, they're very curious individuals and they love to explore. So we built that for them. But we really look for a place for adults that can go and relax. That's why we have couches, have great sight lines. You can see your kids and everything is safe. That's why we have great play equipment, and you can also enjoy an in-house sandwich or a luxury coffee, if you will.
Now, going back to the birthday parties, those
Yeah.
are technically drop-offs. Because you have your parents, you might have your grandparents,
Yeah.
but it's not a 1-to-1 or even a 1-to-3 ratio typically. At least back in the days when my kids were
Yes,
kids.
yeah,
So, I mean, I'm just thinking safety, security.
Sure.
How does that work?
sure. I'll say 2 things. One, the entrance there where it says entrance 101 on the screen.
Yeah, the mouse will.
Oh, yeah, so, sorry. Right here. This will be a gate. This is a door, actually. It's like a half door. So in order to leave this area here, we'll have a door. So pretty much once you pass that door, then you're inside the facility. The only other place that you're going to be able to leave through is our back storage door, which all of this is monitored on cameras as well. So it'd be very difficult for someone to sneak out the back. And if they do behind this building, there's nowhere to go. So again, you have the one access point here. Staff is continually standing within our cafe. And like I mentioned, we will have a security system in place, cameras everywhere, and this door, when you enter and exit, it will send a chime up into our cafe. So it makes this very unique sound that whenever it goes off now for our business, all the staff turn to see who's going into the back door. The second thing I'll say is to your 1-to-1, yeah, it is possible for sure that somebody wants to drop off. I think it's very fair to say that our ratio of parents to adults exceeds kids. So most parties will have 2 to 3x the number of adults than they do kids, just naturally. Part of that is because most families who come at least have 2 parents. So you have to have 2 kids to at least be to 1-to-1. You're only outnumbered when you have 3 or more kids. The other thing is you have, like you said, the grandparents and everybody else, although that they're not going to be responsible for everybody. But our business model, we don't charge for adults to come in and play or come in to participate in these. We don't charge you to play. That's very true too. We only charge for the kids to get in. So even if you came in to play and it was all of you brought in 1 kid, it's just the 1 kid admission. The same thing is true for our birthday parties. We only charge based on the number of kids. So parents feel more welcoming saying, hey, come and have these parties. Where you get the drop off, if you will, is when you're paying per number of heads inside of your space. And a lot of the reasons for that, for our competitors, is because they put you in a room and they're just trying to monitor and capitalize on it.
So at the entrance, I know you said there are cameras and everything.
Yeah.
Is there a physical person stationed?
Yeah, not here, because this is just where you take your shoes off here, but there's usually 2 to 3 people standing in here. We will have 2 registers here. I'm not sure why they're not on a drawing, but we changed this ever so slightly. We're just moving this over and making this wall here a little bit longer. So these openings, we'll have a register here where my mouse is. We'll have another register here where my mouse is. And then we're going to have 2 registers here for people checking in. So when there's people coming in, we'll always have 1 or 2 people there. And then there's always somebody ready to take an order for a coffee or everything else. So I'd be hard pressed to realize that somebody's not here. 'Cause that
Well,
would
I'm
be
just
bad.
thinking.
Yeah,
You can have a 5-year-old
Yeah.
escape.
yeah. And it is part of our waiver, part of our rule signs and everything else that it is supervised play.
Do you have any type of like wristbands?
We don't.
Or anything? Like, how do you know that the child leaving with the adult is the child's guardian?
We wouldn't. In this, outside of us being able to see all the people who come in at the same time, and we're on this very friendly, hey Jessica, welcome, you coming in, I know your phone number, and we check everybody in. That's, Monday through Friday for the most part. But we don't have any wristbands in the same way that I think every kids play place that we've gone through. There's no wristband that connects you to your kid exactly. If you end up going, and we've been to everywhere, like everywhere. When we end up getting a wristband, it's just to either tell you what time you have to leave, because it's color coded and you're here for 2 hours, you're here for all day play, or something else.
I think, I'm sorry, what they mean is Vernon Hills, we drop off our kids at birthday parties and we go. I mean,
Sure.
it just, our
Sure.
time, it's like, but I'm thinking what they mean is if you have a big birthday party and you have 25-year-olds in a room, I think you're thinking more of a safety issue. Security.
I don't agree. I think that this type of business model is actually geared towards younger kids, and parents of younger kids, like 5 and below, do show up to the parties. And he is correct. The biggest barrier to getting parents to show up is when you have to pay to enter. So if their model is not one where you charge the parents to be in the facility, I can tell you as a parent of a 3-year-old, both my wife and I would be there. And everything I hear and that I read in this packet is in line with what I've seen, what I believe industry standards are. And,
Yes, and just to add to that, thank you, but just to add to that, like I said, the wristbands don't necessarily tie you to the adult. So if a kid left with an adult, we're not gonna know either way. The same thing in your David Buster's. Like if you got a wristband at there or Chuck E. Cheese to go play games for 2 hours, I don't think you have to like match it with the adult, because because it's supervised play. Knock on wood, we've never had a child escape. We've never had a child leave without their parent.
So just in the case,
Yeah,
is parents mostly, if they don't show up and they drop their kids off?
yeah,
You'll have like a lot of staff at,
yeah. I mean, especially for the weekends, we're weekend heavy, that we could have anywhere between 8 and 10 staff on rotation, or, I mean, because we're going into a bigger location, it could be even more, a couple people in the kitchen, a couple people behind the cafe, a couple people walking around, servicing the parties and monitoring the play equipment, making sure people aren't running up the slides and, following the directions. And somebody's always gonna be up at the front, watching the front door, making sure guests come in and guests come out. Yeah, of course, again, the great thing is, if a kid sneaks out the door, today I saw it, like a kid wants to go out and they're playing hide and go seek in our whole place. Great place to play hide and go seek if you're a kid. One of them thought, I'm gonna go hide in a cubby. So they go out and they go by the door, but we're able to watch them. We're not gonna interrupt their play or, have to call mom over, but mom hears the door open. Kids go out, they try to hide in a cubby, we're watching them. Oh, that's not good, we're gonna go hide over here instead. So we're always keeping an eye on the families as they come and go.
So, Jim, do you remember, and I believe it was at the mall, that we required them to have security? Because it happened to be a drop-off place, it was a little different, but I think it was Mom's Time Out. And we
did
required
something
them
with
to have.
wristbands.
Yes, to make sure that the kid didn't leave with somebody
wrong
else.
person.
Because, again, you have temper tantrums that they don't want to leave.
Yeah.
It's nap time, they
Yep.
have to go, or whatever. And so you're not going to know if it's a temper tantrum or if somebody is being unfortunately abducted.
Yeah.
So I think this is a great idea. I am really
Yeah.
for this, but I'm very concerned about security.
Okay.
I don't understand that at all. We have so many businesses that facilitate to children that do not require that. Bad things can happen to people no matter where they are at any time. I don't understand that at all. And as someone who is consistently in these facilities, I don't think that's a warranted concern.
Yeah, I have not been to any place with my kids that is play-centric, whether it be an urban air or Sky Zone or 2 Hours of Freedom or any of the likes and in between that have door security, like a doorman, if you will, right, monitoring the door. All of those facilities, like when we go, we have a pass at Urban Air, we go in, we get our wristbands, but it tells you which equipment you can play on based on your height and size. We sit and the kids go off to where we can't see them and then they play, and it's very possible that they could have left without us knowing, but I guess that falls on the parents to keep an eye on the kids. I'm just unfamiliar with a security wristband, 1 in, 1 out, show me your license. And I would still punch holes in that security operation.
Does
as
your
well.
waiver that the parents sign give their right away should a child be abducted?
I don't think it releases liability on a child abduction. I mean, it's a page and a half long, so I can't go through every section in my head. I'd have to look at it. But it does specifically call out that you're responsible for your kids, which would, in that sense,
And how does
Yes.
that work on parties?
every family that comes in for a birthday party signs a waiver. So even if you are dropping off your kid, right? If, again, no, not charging respectfully to the Vernon host community, I would challenge you to drop off your kids, you're gonna wanna stay. But your child will have a waiver that says you're responsible, and if you're responsible and you leave that responsibility to the party host, then you're just transferring that responsibility to them. But regardless, the parents are responsible. And that's in the waiver. So they must be supervised at all time. That's also something that we require.
Okay. Do you, I'm going to switch topics a little bit.
Sure.
Your kitchen, can you describe what goes on in there?
Yeah, we will have a large freezer, a couple refrigerators in there, a flat top grill to, like I said, support our grilled cheese themed menu. A couple tabletop air fryers. Everything's electric. We have no deep frying of grease and no open flames. We've tried to err on the healthier side, but have found ourselves appreciating a good air fried corn dog and mozzarella stick. So, but we don't deep fry anything. There's no open heat sources, and there's just a lot of stainless steel tables.
So there's no hood or anything like that?
We are going to put a hood in because even though we don't require a hood, Lake Zurich, neither Lake Zurich nor McHenry have a hood because of our menu doesn't require it. We believe, at least, that although our architect drawings aren't finalized, that we will incorporate a hood. They're extremely expensive, but they do serve a purpose, I understand. For us, mostly, it's keeping our kitchen cooler because of how it's set up that the hood would just draw the heat out from the electric grill. That's really the purpose that it's going to serve for us, to make it more comfortable for our staff.
Does your door latch system inactivate if there's a fire alarm?
Which door latch system?
You said that you had, on your toddler area, you had one. I'm not sure if you had one on the other area.
In a fire alarm? You're saying?
Yes.
These, no, this door here, which I'm talking about, which will get you into the toddler, this one here will get you into the toddler. It's just a magnet that's up at the top. There's nothing that will,
So an adult could pull it open.
oh yeah, absolutely. It's not a magnet in the sense of you're thinking like a commercial security door that like a convenience store might have to keep intruders out if somebody tries to shoplift or intruders in if they're, no, it's just a simple magnet that a 2 or 3 or like a 3-year-old could probably pull hard enough, but it's enough to keep a 1-year-old in there leaning up against the fence. We did have a fire alarm test today. It was very loud and everybody had to leave, so it works.
Okay, any, I have some signage things if we want to
Sure.
get into that.
Yeah,
You want to discuss your signage
let's go. Let's
request?
get into it. Yeah.
Yeah, right before we get into the signage completely, there's a, just a note on the staff report, the draft motion is lacking one of the variances associated with this. The total square footage, which comes from 19.3C6A, the total square footage also would exceed, once you add the treehouse, the play cafe, and then the tree logo itself. You add those together, it does exceed the standard in the code. So I just want
Yeah.
to note that as well.
For the, is the backer panel counted as signage because it's different than the building and everything like that?
So this is really comparable to, if you're familiar with the shopping center, the Golf Galaxy. It just painted part of the facade. It's just a painted part of the facade. It's not a backer panel. When they do a backer panel for contrast purposes, it's a different material, stands out from the wall a little bit. Those we do count as signage because it sort of looks like a box sign, like a cabinet sign.
Exactly, I couldn't tell based on.
Yeah, it's currently, I think, you had the picture up before and it was just white as the background. Our McHenry location has it framed in with, I don't know if it's stucco or some sort of other construction material on the exterior facade there. So we painted the inside of that sign area, if you will, green as what you're seeing here. This frontage is a little bit bigger and it doesn't have the border around it. So like you mentioned, Andrew, that in line with Golf Galaxy, they have theirs is just blue, where ours is now green, and then they have their logo in there. It says Golf Galaxy up there. So we're mirroring or trying to be in line with what Golf Galaxy has.
Andrew, did Party City have a variation on their sign?
I don't recall. They may have, but I don't know. It predated me by quite a bit.
Okay.
Could you tell by, it's still evident there. Would that hit?
I would imagine the total square footage would have exceeded just based on just eyeballing it. That if you compare it to this, that area it looks comparable.
Now, it appears that in their windows they have signage as well. Is that considered at all?
So the window signage, based on what I'm looking at, would comply. It's considered exempt as long as it complies with certain size restrictions and coverage limitations. So there's no permit for it, but we do like to have people show it to us so that they don't purchase something and then have us ask them to take it down.
And the staff was satisfied with what they see?
Yes, everything that they're proposing thus far in the windows would comply.
And I did share a photo of our McHenry location. Both McHenry and Lake Zurich have the window graphics. But you should have a single photo of just the McHenry location. It's kind of a dim lit evening, kind of like right now it was taken. Looks really nice lit up from the inside and draws attention to what it is because the Treehouse Play Cafe, we still get some folks who stop in and want to know what our business model is.
And how late are you open again?
This is our third.
No, how late are you?
Oh, how late are we open? We're open somewhere between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m., depending on the day. Saturday and Sunday, we're open till 6. There is an option that we have like private events, where folks can rent out the entire space, and host a private party. There's just a slight additional fee. And we host those on Friday nights and sometimes Saturday nights, so they'll go a little bit later. Obviously, we get challenges with like, how late can you keep a 1-year-old up or a 2-year-old up? And that doesn't necessarily work for everybody, but it is a great option for families to come in.
Right now, that strip of the whole mall there has stop signs intermediately placed. Sometimes it appears rather random.
There's a few. We've
Do you
been through
have
there.
stop signs by your facility?
Our Lake Zurich location.
No, this one.
Does this one have stops right in front of it? I don't recall. I'd have to see. I'd imagine, because I feel like you stop at every door that you cross going through there. Obviously, we've had to walk the space a few times, and driving through there, yes, it is stop sign.
That's
heavy.
something we can check,
Yeah.
the village can check that. We did have we had a rogue stop sign down by Harbor Freight that we removed. So it does happen occasionally when the entrance of a store moves. The stop signs don't catch up and you end up with the old location and the new one. So
Yeah.
we can check that.
Okay. I think it needs to be reviewed for the whole center there.
Yeah, it's like that, but it could be on the other side. Right. You know, in the trees, and it's usually not good condition.
Any other questions? Okay. I'll note that the client has submitted their explanations as standards for 18.3 for the special use. Were there any responses to the notices that were sent out?
No, we did not receive any responses.
Okay. Anything else from the commission? Okay, this is a public hearing, so if anyone cares to comment on this particular special use or sign variation, if they'll come forward now.
You better have nice things to say.
Seeing no race to the podium, we'll close the public hearing portion.
Is that it for me then?
You can hang
Oh,
up. They
okay.
may have an additional question.
Sure.
They'll deliberate on a motion.
Sure,
and They may
sure.
have something for you.
And there were no other conditions.
No, the only item I had noted from just rereading the staff report was the mention of the overall square footage, which would be a third variance in the list in the draft motion. So I would just say it would be the motion in the staff report. The second motion would be the variance. It would be the motion in the staff report with the additional third item relating to the total square footage, which, just for the record of the public hearing, is 131 square feet for the text and 10, with an additional 10 square feet for the logo. It came out to 141.24.
Okay. And you're saying that's going to be a second? Just in addition to the
Just
second
addition to
motion?
yes, that's a
Second item.
third item in the second motion. So not a condition of approval, just a correction.
Okay, all right. So we have a standing motion to approve recommending the use of a special use for an indoor play cafe for the property located at 555 East Town Line Road, Unit 8 in Vernon Hills. Is there, and it requires a special use permit. And according, we're also exhibited the floor plan, and the project narrative is submitted as well. Any other conditions? Any second? I would like to make the condition that also those stop signs are reviewed prior to occupancy.
That'll be a staff to review. I'll do that with the property owner. Because it goes beyond the unit, so I'll deal with that with the property owner, but as a condition still.
I would second it, and I like the stop sign review, because I agree there are kind of rogue stop signs.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Cotton,
Again, I like your use. I'm just concerned about the security.
Sure.
I unfortunately have to say no.
Okay.
Commissioner Fluno,
Yes.
Commissioner Nabbit,
No.
and Chair Pro Tem Heidner.
Yes.
Okay.
Did you want to make any comment? Okay. All right, the second item is the finding of fact and recommendation of approval following for the variation of the signage variation, illustrated by the sign design drawing by IC Signs and Graphics dated May 15th, 2026, and to permit a logo that exceeds the height of the sign text, and to permit a logo that exceeds the width of 2 letters and exceed the total square footage with the sign and the logo together. Any second?
Second.
We have a motion made by Chair Pro Tem Heidner, seconded by Commissioner Cotton. Commissioner Cotton,
Yes.
Commissioner Fluno,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Nabbit,
Yes.
and Commissioner Heidner.
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Heidner. So that carries. We will package this, the review and recommendation up for the board. This will go on June 16th it'll go as a committee of the whole item, most likely. I'll be in touch with you and explain what all that means, but pencil in June 16th for that.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, the next item is case PZ 26-03. It's a petition filed by JCA Hayes LLC, property owner, to develop a multi-building light industrial park at 100 to 230 South Milwaukee Avenue, considering their site plan, landscape plan, and architectural plan for the former American Hotel Registry site. I have somebody coming to present.
Before you get started on it, just a note, I had sent out with the staff report can you pass these down, 2 of those? One for you. I had sent out a note with the staff report. So the Continental Executive Park regional PUD from, I believe it was, I want to say 88, laid out a zoning framework, which is the current zoning framework for this site. It was a very large area, many acres. This particular site is just a small part of it, even though the site itself is 70 acres. It outlines use regulations. It outlines unique parking requirements. It outlines bulk regulations like height restrictions, even down to the detail that the east half of this particular site has an unusually high allowance for height. It has an 8-story height allowance in our code. In the Continental Executive Park framework. So this has a zoning framework that does deviate from the normal code. You guys have dealt with that before in other locations, but that is just for the benefit of the meeting here. That is what the regional PUD means. As I had mentioned before during the general comment, a development was proposed on this site a few years ago. The village took all the feedback from that development, provided it to this petitioner so that they could start with their plan from the beginning, having, go ahead. We started from the beginning, giving them everything that so they could benefit from the comments that previously made. In the Continental Executive Park zoning framework, this is considered to be a permitted use, a unified multi-building developments of permitted use. There are no variations associated with it. There are no special uses associated with it, although it's possible in the future a specific tenant might have a special use requirement. There is no tenant identified at this point that would trigger a special use requirement. The way that the Continental Executive Park reads in terms of site plan review, the review of the Planning and Zoning Commission is not required unless the village manager determines that it should be. So given the history with this site and given the particularly large acreage here that we're working with, 70 acres, the village manager and I discussed and decided that this was definitely a case where it would be appropriate to have the Planning and Zoning Commission review and have a public meeting on it and take in your feedback as well as the public feedback. With that, I do have a couple of slides by way of context before handing it over to the development team. The Planning and Zoning Commission recently reviewed the Connor development. This is directly to the west of that. It is northeast of the Vernon Hills Athletic Complex and east of the county water treatment, just by way of orientation. We took a couple of drone shots just to give you the context. It's hard to take a photograph from the ground level and see this site. So this is the Milwaukee frontage looking north. The bottom, you can sort of see the one retaining pond, and the other, sorry, the south end there, and then you can see the other pond to the north. This is the east part of what would be the Building 1 footprint if you look at your site plan. It's the parking lot and the footprint of the former American Hotel office building. You can see the curved road where the flags used to be to the right. This is an overall view of the southeast quadrant of the site. This is the building, I believe, is called Building 2. There it is. This is the existing building, the American Hotel warehouses, which were actually constructed before the office building. And this is the west half of the site. So off in the distance, you can see CDW. The west half of Building 1 would be in the back half there. And then buildings 3 and 4 would be in the foreground here past the wooded area. I think with that, we would start the slides for the development team.
Thank you. And how do I?
You can advance with the keyboard or the mouse.
Okay, I see. We'll go back here. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, commissioners, for the opportunity to present tonight. My name is Barry Misner. I am the CEO of the Misner Group, a family-owned Chicago-based contractor, investor, and developer of industrial properties. We're in our 81st year of business. My grandfather started the firm in 1945. I'm presenting tonight on behalf of the applicant, which is a venture including Wiley Capital, represented by Jason Simon and Ernie Reinstein that are here, and F. Garrison Associates, represented by Stuart Mills. Together, this development team has over 100 years of industrial development experience. Makes me feel old saying that, with projects over 6 million square feet and valued over $500 million. Why are we here tonight? Let's just get to, oh, wait, here we can go back. We are here tonight seeking approval of a re-subdivision and plan approval of what we have branded VHIP, or Vernon Hills Industrial Park. I guess everything needs an acronym these days, including architectural, civil, and landscape design for each lot of the proposed re-subdivision. Before I begin the presentation on the individual buildings and subdivision plan, I wanted to provide a little history of where we stand on the development process. Let me just get to the plan so we can kind of look at, okay. The venture acquired the property in 2024, and in late 2025, we went under contract with Hand to Mine, an existing Vernon Hills business, for a build-to-suit on the northern half of the proposed re-subdivision, which is identified as Building 1. That site is approximately 35 acres, and the proposed building is just under 700,000 square feet. After much refinement to our plan throughout the latter half of 2025, we commenced our civil design in January of this year and submitted to Vernon Hills and Lake County Public Water District for technical review in late February, and we have now completed the technical review process with final details to be resolved during the permitting process for each of the individual proposed buildings. We expect to receive completed construction drawings for Hand to Mine building this week, and we'll submit them for building permit with the hope to commence vertical construction this fall. To meet this timeline, in early May, we submitted a permit application to the village with the goal to receive an early mass grading permit. Given that submission and expected approval, we hope to start mass grading by the end of June or early July. This site requires a great deal of balancing, and the June start is critical for the occupancy goal of Hand to Mine, which would be by late 2027. The existing warehouse building, which is identified right in the middle there, is approximately 204,000 square feet. Ownership over the course of 2025 provided certain improvements to enhance its leasability, and we have 2 proposals pending right now for the entire building and hope to announce a deal soon with a tenant. I'd like to introduce, we have a bunch of people here, so I'd like to introduce some of our team. We have Grant Brandenburg with Powers Brown Architect, the project architect, Brett Duffy and Joe Lewis with Spaceco, our civil engineering firm, Catherine Talty of KTLA, our landscape architect, Luai Albano of so many acronyms, KLOA, our traffic engineer, and Larry Friedman. Thank you for not going to an acronym, Larry, of Ash, Enos, Freeman, and Lodwin. He is our land use attorney. Also here are members of the Waldenberg family that are in the back. Owners of Hand to Mine, including Rick, Stephen, Elena Ruffman, and Ben Waldenberg, who will speak later in the presentation to tell you about the company and needs surrounding the building we are developing for them. Before I hand this over to Grant Brandenburg, who will go through each of the buildings in the proposed re-subdivision, I thought I'd give you a high-level overview of the master plan, and then I'll hand it over to Grant, and he will go through building by building. So I'm going to use the cursor. Oh, you can see. So as you can see, we've left you showed the drone shots. We have left the existing ingress egress at the light of American Way and Milwaukee Avenue. The site is essentially bifurcated from north to south, with building A, the proposed Hand to Mine building, being on the north side. As access comes in, we have a drive aisle that immediately provides traffic to the north end of the building to access the north side and these docks, and also we've kept the center lane in. So we've designed this thoughtfully in the hope that all of this traffic will circulate in and out through the center line, up to the north side, back around, and then out onto Milwaukee Avenue. We are using the existing stormwater detention system, the ponds. These are actually being expanded somewhat, so you have kind of this water element and landscape element from Milwaukee Avenue before you get into the impervious area in the building. Our goal in planning these smaller buildings, all of which are approximately 100,000 square feet, buildings 2, 3, and 4, is to meet the needs of smaller and medium-sized tenants that want to upgrade their space to new construction. We feel like this has been a void in many markets. These buildings are divisible down to 20,000 square feet. They're often referred to today as shallow bay buildings. We believe that's a void in the market and kind of designed around those needs. A few other things before I hand it over to Grant. On these buildings on the south end, we were sensitive to the issues of the southern neighbors. So these wing walls that are there will both visually obscure the truck area and also provide some muffling of noise. And then we've expanded the sound screening to the south. You can see it's marked on the plan. You can probably barely read it, but it's down here on the southeastern area right here where we're extending this fence down along here. So at this time, I'm going to hand it over to Grant, and he can go through each of the individual buildings and their elevations.
Thanks, sir.
There's the arrows right down.
Gotcha. Hi, my name is Grant Brandenburg. I'm a principal at Powers Brown Architecture. We're the architect of record for the project. So this is a rendering of the build-to-suit building, which is building 1 on the site plan. I'll just go over some basic architectural features of the facades and then we'll move into floor plans of each building one by one. So overall, we have a fairly neutral color palette in terms of, warmer earth tones to break up the massing of such a large building. So at the office corners, we've recessed the building footprint in a little bit to provide some relief and draw interest where the two-story glazing is for the entry to the building. There's a metal canopy that you can see here. I don't know if you guys can see my cursor up there. To bring down to a human scale of the building, as well as on this office corner that fronts Milwaukee Avenue, is identified as the main tenant for the building. It has some punched windows at the office areas.
Are we at the southeast corner? Is that what we're looking at? Southeast of the building?
Yes, this is the southeast corner of building one. Yeah. And then throughout the course of the building, along the dock walls and along the end walls, we have clear story windows that punch in to provide natural light through the warehouse space for the workers. Let me go to the next slide here. I think it shows the overall building elevations. So what we were just looking at in terms of that perspective view was this portion of the building here, this corner. So this is the frontage facing Milwaukee. The overall south elevation is what faces the center drive aisle. So you can see on the right half, it would be the office component, the docks for receiving and shipping, and then potentially a future office location on the west end. The building is fairly symmetrical. North and south are almost identical as is east and west. It's a very standard four-sided building. I think later on in the slides, we'll get into the actual material palette for each building, but this is the overall view of the building, standardly demised with structural spacing according to the user's layout. This is building 2. So this is the other building that fronts Milwaukee that has a stepped facade. As Barry was saying earlier, these buildings are designed so that they could be multi-tenant buildings. Currently, there's 3 tenant entries identified on this building, one at each corner and one in the middle where the building jogs. But very similarly to the Hand-to-Mind Build-to-Suit building, the paint scheme is divided to identify interest at the entrance corners for the offices, where there's some 2-story glazing elements and some punched window openings for the office areas, and a metal canopy feature that highlights the corners. These are the elevations for this building. So the east elevation here is what fronts Milwaukee. You can see that the amount of blue on the corners, there's a decent amount of glass for natural light in the office areas, and then there's some clear story windows, these smaller punched openings across the facade throughout the building. This is the footprint of this building. So this is envisioned for 3 tenants, but could be demised to smaller if needed, depending on what the leasing interest is from the leasing team. Each tenant sort of has a drive-in door on the dock side of the building, and a series of dock openings as well. And as Barry was mentioning, we intentionally brought the footprint of the building down with these, what we call dog ears, to enclose the ends of the dock wall in earnest to help limit sound and sight from the neighboring residences. The other buildings are very similar, that are all the speculative buildings that don't have specific tenants yet. All of the facades are of the same material palette, color scheme that ties into the existing paint scheme of the building that's out there today. Again, these are the elevations that show middle entry, corner entries on each of these speculative buildings. Very similarly, this one is demised to potentially be down to 4 tenants, double office in the middle, 1 on each corner. Every tenant has the option to have a drive-in door and multiple dock doors. And the facade is essentially mirrored. They're just slightly different footprints. I'm going to click ahead here. So these are the materials. Obviously, all of these buildings are constructed out of load-bearing precast. So this is the raw image here of what that surface looks like. They will all be painted per what the elevation showed. And these are the different proposed paint colors for the different buildings. For building 1, for the build-to-suit, the canopies are proposed to be a dark bronze color. with matching aluminum storefront, tinted glazing, and, organic or natural paint scheme that is like an off-white, a light gray, and a slightly darker color. And then all of the spec buildings are very similar. The only difference is that for the spec buildings, the accent color is green to match the existing warehouse building, whereas the Hand to Mine project is more of a brown color. But otherwise very harmonious in terms of the color palette. These are the colors on the existing building to help tie in with the matching paint schemes. That's a view of the existing building as it is today.
And what color are the stripes?
This is like an off-white and a gray color, and then there's a hint, it's hard to see in the lighting with this picture, but there's an accent green band that also is part of the intercanopy. So it's essentially white and gray with green accents. And this is a sightline study that we did. So standing at the property line along Milwaukee, viewing back towards the building, I don't know if I can zoom on this or not, but essentially we've shown what the size of one of the rooftop units would be for the various different spaces. And at this angle, you won't see the rooftop units because the road is lower than the building finished floor. So at the distance that it's away, any rooftop units on the building wouldn't be visible from the property line.
That's from the property line, but the further out you go into Milwaukee Avenue,
This is at Milwaukee Avenue, essentially.
at the
On the
west side of
going
Milwaukee,
east. Yes, right.
not the opposite side of Milwaukee Avenue. So your angle's going to be,
The further away you get, the less you'll be able to see it because it's lower.
because Milwaukee Avenue drops off.
Yeah. I think that's all the slides that we have here.
Did you do any sightline from the proposed development across the street, which is 4 stories tall, residential?
Let me go back to the site plan.
So we typically have the standard of review sort of eye level, usually a little bit out in, maybe the lane of traffic at eye level is usually as far as we go out. For all the buildings at the mall, if you recall that, we don't require them for the upper story to screen it if it happens to be near a taller building. We
Yeah, I'm
come from the
not sure
territory of living in an upper level apartment.
what the elevation of that grade level is, but that would impact it too. Even if it's just, a story or two above, it would still be less visible. Our buildings are, 40-foot clear on the build-to-suit, so the top of the building is somewhere between 45 and 46 feet tall. I'll bring this back over to the landscape section and let Catherine speak to this stuff.
Back to the landscape.
Here you go.
Thanks, Grant. Okay, Catherine Talte is going to walk everybody through the landscaping. Here, Catherine, it's just, you can barely see it, but there's a little arrow right there for you to
Perfect.
visualize.
Perfect. All right, thank you. I'm Catherine Talte, as Barry had mentioned. I'm a landscape architect on the project, and so I will walk you through kind of a rationale for the site. I believe in your package you've probably seen the whole technical plan set, which includes an extensive tree inventory and tree protection preservation plan set. We're showing on that the tree removals that are really impacted by the construction. We are removing approximately 300 trees that are categorized as either fair or good, but of those trees, about 77 are considered undesirable species. So things like pear, cottonwood, et cetera. We are planting 223 high-quality trees over the course of the 70 acres. Our goal really is to preserve the visual screening that runs along the south property line. That was really our primary focus. So we're preserving as many trees as we can along that property line. We have some grading impact, and in that case, we have focused a lot of evergreen screening in those areas. I don't know if you can see this, but anyway, this is just an illustrative overall plan. We are meeting all of the code requirements. I believe one question was if we were to install the land bank parking, at that point we would address the requirements, the landscape requirements for the land bank parking, but for the time being, that will all be natural turf.
Before you go any further, could you identify where that is right now?
Sure. Oh, wait, here we go. Get a cursor. So land bank parking is primarily in these areas here. And I believe we have a little land bank parking along the existing building as well.
Can I ask a question? I'm not a landscape expert, but on the west side, I think it's the west side, the one closest to like the fields, yeah. I'm just, especially like towards the southwest side, why is there like a lack? It seems like a lack of vegetation.
We just fundamentally continued sort of a naturalized tree line in that area. We weren't screening necessarily any truck parking. So the thought was that kind of bleeds into that, neighboring park space.
Yeah, I guess I have a concern that there's not enough there. We have fields in the high school to the north side of it, but fields to the bottom. And it seems like the focal point, probably rightly so, was shielding the south, but it seems like I think I would want more done on the west side.
I would agree. The VHAC space is really only going to be used during the warmer weather months. So the need for evergreen isn't as critical. But it appears like there's about a handful of trees, which I believe are going to be 3-inch caliper. Is it correct?
I'm sorry, 3-inch caliper? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, for the size of the building and, sitting at a ball game and staring right across the outfield and seeing that massive wall, getting some canopy trees in some random groupings, some massings, I think would be critical there. Whereas the evergreen would be a little bit more important on the south end.
There is also a berm that exists along that, in that property line as well, just to point that out as well.
Is there a berm on the west side, though?
Yes, on the west side as well.
Do we know the height of that berm?
Say that again.
15 feet, and the building is about 40 plus, give or take?
Those two buildings on the south are shorter, they're only 32 feet tall.
Okay. So you'd have,
But your point, I
response-
take your.
The response on
respect your
that was
point.
they're 32 feet tall.
that's fine.
Yeah, I don't think there's any issue with focusing some more planting along that.
Yeah,
Line
just
of
because the color scheme of the buildings is a brighter white, right? So I think they would stand out pretty prominently from the ball fields.
Understood.
Could you sort of point out, as you did with the land bank parking, point out where the fields are for the VHAC versus the
We have an aerial. Was there an aerial
water treatment center?
in this? I thought on their site plan there might have been an aerial. Yeah, here we go.
So the water treatment, do you see it with all the way up there?
Yes, so
So
the
it
ball
looks like-
fields really are kind of southwest here.
So it looks like the dividing line is essentially the dividing line between building one and the rest of the buildings.
Yes. right. Let's see, where was I? So to the south property line, our main focus obviously was keeping the existing screening intact. There's also a large existing berm along, this portion of the property, and then where we've installed another large berm to match that berm. That's somewhere between 9 and 10 feet tall, the berm. And since we're not regrading here, we're able to preserve the existing trees that are in that location. Where we are regrading, that's where we've introduced some evergreens along the perimeter to screen. So we've added along that line 37 evergreens and 7 shade trees to kind of, to provide that screening. We're reusing this sign here. And so we've provided a bit of a refresh to the landscape along that sign, around that sign. There are existing crab apples that we're saving in that median. It's really kind of a light touch in terms of what we are doing to that as well. And then the last point I would make is that it was alluded to that we are expanding these stormwater basins a little bit. So in the areas of expansion, we are restoring native planting along the perimeter of that. There's going to be a shelf, so we'll be able to do a small number of emergent plants along that shelf, as well as the natives along the bank. We're working out those seed mix ratios now, depending on how steep that bank is. But that's one of the permit issues that we're working on with engineering. We are keeping as many trees. It's a pretty healthy planting along Milwaukee, so that is essentially getting cleaned up. We're not touching that area along Milwaukee. So any additional planting really takes place on the west side of those stormwater basins.
On that note, how many trees are you removing?
We're
What's your
removing
net?
300 across the 70 acres.
And are you replacing any of, so what's the net difference? What's the delta?
So we're removing 300. Of the 377 trees are undesirable species. And we're replacing 220. It actually, we
It's a
didn't
net.
try this, but we are replacing exactly what we're removing. That's just coincidental. Lucky, I guess. And so then also in your package is a blow up of the proposed plant list at this point. Again, these are kind of tried and true plants, and they are sort of the similar species to what the old plants were on the site, but species that are really kind of recommended now. And then lastly, there's just an image palette of some of the plant material that we're expecting to use. And to give you an idea of what the detention basin treatment will look like, because there is some open water in these basins. That bottom picture is a depiction of what the look will be of those basins.
Question about the Euonymus colorius.
I knew you were going to ask that. This is the hottest debate in landscape installation now.
My problem with it is it's very difficult to maintain over time. Once invasives, grass, what have you, get into it, you can't kill it off and you can't hand pull it, and it's just bad.
We really only use it in our parking lot islands. We don't generally use it in beds that are adjacent to grass because we feel like it's not necessarily.
But you have it at
attractive.
the main entrance sign, correct?
Well, we are showing some at the main entrance. I believe.
It looks like that entire center section, is that just because the sign goes down to grade?
Yeah, I have shown it there. We will likely not use it near the sign. We do typically keep it, reserve it for parking lot islands, just for the intensity of use and the durability of
Yeah,
of those
I mean, even-
situations.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what type of signage is going to be there and how close to the ground it would be, but I'm sure you're aware of other alternatives. And then the sea green junipers, you have them kind of going all the way to the curb. Those will eventually kind of grow and need to be kind of sheared right back
Sheared
off the
off
curb.
at the curb.
Is there any way to pull the two that are closest to the curb on both sides and kind of mass them into more of a
Sure.
massing instead of a straight line?
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So we have been using, just for your, if you're interested, but in more integrated foundation plantings or beds that are near grasses, we are starting to use purple love grass, and we're starting to use like a violet species as a ground cover. That seems to be working for this year.
There's also newer varieties of allium that stay, I think, in the
That stay low.
8 to 12 inch
Yeah, I haven't
range.
tested that yet, but I've heard that as well.
Is that the Summer Beauty?
Summer Beauty is one of the types of alliums.
While we're on landscaping, just one note, I did have comments during discussions with residents who live south of the wall. The area, there is a portion of the subject property that is south of the wall. Do you know, or anybody from the group know how that is going to be accessed, and will you be able to maintain access? The reason I'm asking is there is a dead tree currently that might be on the subject property that's damaged part of the sound wall. So just thinking ahead to the future, just the ability to clean up, there may be other dead trees back there that are actually on the property that should be taken down in conjunction with the development.
Yeah, we were made aware of that, and there'll be an access point to get on the other side of the wall and be able to clean up the.
With
sound.
equipment, you'll be able to
Yes.
get to it?
Yes.
There's enough space? Okay.
Okay.
I also have, it appears that there's no shrub material on your master plant list. Is the planting basicting a tree planting across the property, or they're not?
It is, it's
Shrubs.
basically tree planting across the property. Where we would have shrub planting is around the entrances of the buildings. And Hand to Mine, and I've had discussions already about what their vision is for their building. So that will likely, come as these tenants are in and,
So there'll be additional landscaping around the foundation of these
around the
buildings that's just not
foundations, yes.
determined yet?
Especially around the entrance points. It seemed to be the only effective place to use shrubs. with
And
these
so
buildings.
staff will make sure that that's coordinated at the right time. Okay.
Any other questions?
Not as we're talking landscape, I know you were talking about the sign, but I noticed that on the illustration we have here, already the sign is being covered by the vegetation.
It's very, right, it's very low. So it's a challenge, which is why the shrub material is really kind of behind the sign, because we have such a low slung sign. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to invite up Ben Waldenberg from Hand to Mine to tell you a little bit about their company and about the need for this project.
Hey, all. I'm going to hand out a couple of the products here. All right. Hi, everybody. I am Ben Woldenberg. I'm representing Hand to Mine here tonight. I'm fourth generation in our family business. We're over 100 years old. I'm joined here tonight by my sister, Alana Ruffman, our CMO, who just helped me hand out some of these products. My brother, Stephen Woldenberg, who's our SVP of Sales at Learning Resources, and my father, Rick Woldenberg, who is our CEO. I'm our Vice President of Operations. We, along with our sister company, Learning Resources, have 1.1 million square feet of office and industrial space in Vernon Hills currently. We have that over 5 different facilities for them in Continental Executive Park, so 380 North Fairway Drive, 375 North Fairway Drive, 225 North Fairway Drive, 500 Greenview Court, and 700 Darling Drive. This proposed building at 100 South Milwaukee, which I think is referred to as Building 2 in this drawing, would serve as Handemine's new distribution center for our company. At Handemine, we're a mission-driven business that makes educational products, toys, and manipulatives. Our mission, our family of companies, is to bring learning to life. Our family business first moved to Vernon Hills in 1990, and we've added space continuously over the years. In this new development, we're proposing to consolidate our distribution operations from our 4 facilities in Continental Executive Park into this new facility at 100 South Milwaukee. What will be in the building will be the same as what we're doing currently, just in a new facility about 2 miles away. So there'll be shipping, receiving, material handling, some light assembly as well, assembly of our school kits. I brought with us a couple product samples which I handed out to you guys so you guys can see what we do. And we like to say that we have roots down to the center of the earth in Vernon Hills and in Illinois. We've been here for many years, and we are hoping that this new building helps restate our commitment to Vernon Hills. We, along with the 280 Illinois employees we have, are proud to be Vernon Hills residents and members of this community. And this investment we're making will help our companies continue to stay in Vernon Hills for the foreseeable future. That's all I have. Yeah.
We'll get into the exciting part of the re-subdivision after passing out gifts. Okay. So this is the existing subdivision that exists, Continental Executive Park re-subdivision number 20, and this will be easier to read. We have a little color-coded map here. So the way that we're proposing the re-subdivision, Lot 1 would be the Handemine lot, because they're utilizing the entire north detention pond along the east side. That would be part of Lot 1. And then Lot 2 would be the southern detention pond, which would be shared by the southern property owners, along with the access road that bifurcates the site from north to south. And then you would have lots 3, 4, 5, and 6. The reason that you have 2 lots on the southwestern area, these 2 are separately subdivided in case there was a sale of one of the 2 buildings, even though we would develop them together. So that is kind of your basic re-subdivision. We'll obviously have easements and declarations that will govern the use of all of this. And we have our civil engineers, as I mentioned, Brett Duffy is here, can answer any technical questions about the subdivision. I'm not going to go much further on it because it kind of speaks for itself.
So are 2 different parties going to be responsible for the detention facilities?
The Lot 1 owner will have responsibility over their entire property, and then there will be a association. And Brad, correct me if I'm wrong, I think some of the water may drain from the north detention pond into the south detention pond. So we will have easements and a declaration, and there will be an association and a board that will govern the common areas, because you already have this Lot 2, which will be an access road that will be used by all of the property owners. That is our presentation this evening. We're here to answer questions that you have, or further questions that you have. I can direct the questions to, depending on what they are, to the parties that we have here with us tonight.
Did staff have any comments to make right away?
So in the staff report, there are 2 draft motions and a series of questions. Hopefully, the commission's had a chance to review all that. Through the discussion this evening, I noted additional conditions from the what appeared to be consensus. So when we get to the point of deliberation, it would be the staff draft motion, plus I have 4 conditions that I can go through when we get to that. So beyond that, I don't have any additional comment. I don't think, there were a few items from the staff report and from the petitioner's narrative that didn't come out in the discussion. The sidewalk is being replaced along Milwaukee Avenue. There's an emergency access point. There's an existing drive that provides access from the county water treatment facility to a lift station that they own at the northeast corner of this property. That access will be maintained. The petitioner's preference is to separate that access road from the internal access drives for the building 1. So there will be an emergency gate. Our fire district will have access to get to the property that direction, but general public travel along that access road back to the to Lakeview Parkway is not going to be possible. So in terms of the traffic flow, just one last note while we're on access, the south access drive that was discussed earlier is actually a feature that was part of the original site plan in 96 and 97 for the American Hotel warehouse. The intention was to construct the warehouse first, construct the office building second, and then build the dedicated south access drive to separate the office traffic from the warehouse traffic. I do not know the full story as to why that didn't happen when the office building was built, but just for the plan commission, the original site plan for the American Hotel warehouse did show that road as a future road. Beyond that, I'm happy to answer any questions technically on the staff side, but no additional comments.
Go ahead.
I have a couple questions. The first is, you heard some of the neighbors express some concern, specifically around the timing of noise and probably light too. I mean, are you amenable to limiting the hours that trucks are operating, or what's your position on that?
I believe that there's a noise ordinance in Vernon Hills, and we would have to comply with that ordinance. So I don't have the specifics of that ordinance right now, but we would have to comply, and all the users would have to comply.
So the noise ordinance, there's 2 ways to kind of approach it. There's steering of a potential tenant who might be operating 24/7 away from occupying that particular building. If they're going to occupy a building, maybe try to get them into a different space if they're going to be a late night operation, knowing that the history is just going to increase the likelihood of a complaint for noise. So then on the enforcement side, I believe it's 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. The noise level drops by 5 decibels, like the maximum noise level drops. For commercial property, it goes from 65 down to 60. So it's not a huge drop, but there is a drop at overnight hours. But yes, it does increase the likelihood of a complaint if you have somebody who's operating heavily overnight.
And so is that the plan, though, to have it operating 24/7?
It's not the plan, but we want to be able to market the buildings to all of the uses that are allowed under the zoning. So we would certainly, if somebody had a 24-hour access or something like that, we would push them into another area of the building to try and push them further north. It's also the wing walls and the way we've designed the ingress and egress is really to try and utilize as much of that center lane as possible on the trucks moving in and out.
Would you be willing to submit that the trucks use the northern entrance and exit during off hours?
The trucks using the northern entrance during
That's the signal
the signal.
intersection versus that new intersection down to the south?
I don't know how, I think they're going to want to come in and out of that controlled interchange anyway, because it's going to be an easier swing to get into the property. So
Joe Lewis with Space Code. Just to be clear, that south entrance is no trucks. It is vehicles only, autos only.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
all truck
I
traffic.
don't think that was clear.
Yeah, so all truck traffic will be to that center signalized entrance.
and that's also just a right in, right out for cars.
Could you talk a little bit about the lighting of the entire kind of footprint, and like, will there be light pollution, I think, to the neighbors and to the field, to the high school? What do you anticipate?
I don't know what the lighting ordinance is. Grant, is it 0 foot candles at the property
I'm not
lines?
sure what the cutoffs, but we submitted a photometric plan that complies with what the regulations are, so the light is supposed to be at a certain minimal foot candle level when it hits the property line, so it should be full compliance.
Yes, it is.
Okay. One more question. We didn't talk a lot about traffic. So I know you have your traffic expert here. I'm specifically wondering about like how much truck traffic this will increase on Milwaukee Avenue. And I'm thinking about like the lights along Milwaukee Avenue. Could you maybe speak a little bit to what your traffic study showed?
Yes. Thank you. Let me get this out of your way.
No problem. Good evening, Louis Abuna, KLOA, we're the traffic consultants. So, yeah, as part of the traffic study, we did do counts along Milwaukee Avenue that not only, looked at the traffic, passenger vehicle traffic, but we were also able to determine what the truck traffic is on Milwaukee. And, there's obviously a significant presence of truck traffic today on Milwaukee during both the morning and evening peak hours. Just to give you an example, at this entrance to the site, there are about 66 trucks that travel north and south on Milwaukee during the 1 hour period in the morning, and about 35 trucks. So there's already truck traffic along that corridor. As far as this development, the truck generation, I mean, the typical use of these buildings, the truck traffic is not concentrated during any particular hours, spread out throughout the day. So the impact will not be significant. In fact, these facilities, in terms of truck traffic, they peak, like mid-morning, 10, 11 o'clock. So it really doesn't overlap with the rush hour. So that kind of helps reduce that impact. But regardless, in terms of the total amount of truck traffic during the peak hours, rush hour in the morning, it's about 30 trucks in and out, and about 20 trucks in and out in the evening.
Is that a sum, are you basing that as a sum of all of the current facilities? Or is there a reduction because some of it's facility-to-facility trucks?
This is just the overall for the entire development.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is over the entirety of the development, so kind of putting everything together, it's about, one truck every 2 minutes coming in and out of the facility. So, when we analyze the intersection of Milwaukee and the signal, that intersection was designed to accommodate significantly more traffic when the American Hotel Register was at full occupancy. And we did that comparison in the traffic study, and it shows clearly that this development generates significantly less traffic.
Yeah, I guess my concern, I'm thinking away, like the trucks have to still get to the signal, and there's a bunch of signals on Milwaukee.
Right.
I'm not sure, like, to me, if you said, I don't remember exact numbers, but you said 60 over an hour, and then you threw out maybe an additional 30 throughout rush hours. I don't know. That seems like a large, intense kind of use to me. I mean, I'm wondering, it seems like a lot to me, and I'm wondering if we have the infrastructure on Milwaukee Avenue, especially with, all of our development to handle the traffic that'll.
Well, again, not focusing on truck traffic alone from an overall standpoint, when the American Hotel Register building was in place, that generated twice the amount of traffic that this development would generate during the rush hour.
Yeah, but
So while there will be slightly more truck traffic, there's a huge reduction in the amount of passenger vehicles. So trucks may have a little bit more impact because they're slower and so forth, but when you have a larger volume of passenger vehicles, that has a greater impact on the capacity of intersections.
yeah, I would just tell you the historical reference doesn't mean much to me because the area has been so developed since then. So I don't think it's apples to apples necessarily. But thank you for answering my questions.
You're welcome.
Can I, just a quick clarification, was there a statement made, writing and listening at the same time, I may have missed something. What did you, or did you state a plan for the existing buildings?
The plan for the existing 204,000 square foot
Yeah, I
building?
believe it's in the narrative, but,
Right, we just did improvements, it needed some.
I'm sorry, the existing buildings occupied by the one known tenant, Hand to Mine? The existing buildings located in town, is there?
Oh, what Hand to Mine is planning
Yeah,
on
I think it
doing?
was in the narrative, but I don't know if you mentioned.
Ben, do you want to speak? I could do it, but the 4 existing buildings on Continental Executive Park house warehousing for Hand to Mind, an office for Hand to Mind and Learning Resources. We're going to take the 4 distribution facilities and move to the 100 South Milwaukee facility. And the office, we're going to rent an office space nearby for the 2 offices together. Those 4 buildings will be leased out.
Okay. Leased out, independent of Hand to Mine, just leased out.
Independent of Hand to Mind, yes.
Are those buildings owned by you?
Yes.
As long as you're up there.
Yeah, exactly.
Your building is different than the other 4 in coloring, in design. Yet it looks like a warehouse similar to what we would find in the Darling property down below. Is there a reason that you did that? I mean, your buildings right now are very distinct, and this is sort of indistinct.
Are you talking about our buildings in
In
the
Vernon
buildings
Hills
on the
right
site,
now.
or in Continental Executive Park?
In Continental.
Oh, I think we were just looking to match the facade of our current building in Darling, and we like the kind of simple kind of muted look of it. So I think we're trying to match some of that, and then also work with what they're planning for the other facilities as well.
Is parking, what is the parking requirement for the site, and where are they as far as?
So there.
I was confused
Yeah,
whether
it
the
is a,
land bank parking was included
The
in your
land,
total or not.
so the land bank parking, I think, gives them some flexibility for future tenants. The breakdown of the space projected with one known tenant and then a speculative breakdown is what I've calculated in the table in the staff report. They're over that considerably, based on the current projection, but not knowing, it's possible that one of these buildings could house more office, for example. Having the land bank parking gives them some flexibility with future tenants. They could restructure their own company and require more employees and choose to put in parking beyond the parking requirement. So it's some, as far as the requirement is concerned right now, they exceed it significantly, but with land banking, it does give them some flexibility for shifting things around later.
But even still, they're way over what they need.
Way over, with the built parking, the phase 1, if you will, parking is way over what is needed. The land bank parking would exceed it by even more.
So could they could give up some spaces?
I think you're going where
I would like to see some of the islands where they have trees doubled in size, so that they could eliminate some parking, make those islands bigger so that trees can survive.
What about what Hal always says about the?
And the size of the vehicles?
Yes.
Size
So
of the-
I'll let you
size
handle
of the
that.
stalls.
Exactly. I'll let you handle
I would say for the size of the building, I think the vehicle parking for the industrial use is, my guess is probably relatively small. We have a lot of inventory, and I think that's part of what makes the population of people in this building relatively small. But we think the parking spaces as allotted now will handle, it's a seasonal business, will handle kind of the peaks of what we need.
Right. I'm just suggesting using some of those parking spaces that you don't really need and adding to the landscaped islands that you've created.
Expanding islands like this.
Yeah, taking the islands at the end of the rows and then the one in the center, and instead of it being a single,
space.
you know, space,
We can
it's a
certainly
double
work with-
space
We
wide.
can certainly work with staff to
And maybe you can
expand.
get, you know, 3
And it-
trees in instead of, you know, 2 or.
Otherwise, those trees will be there for 10 years and then die. There's not enough ground space for them.
Understood. We can work to expand those islands. You might have to lose a few parking spots, but we can probably find them somewhere else if you still need them. All right.
Pardon me? Oh, that's not me to do. I can't speak for Hal. Question on the re-subdivision. I noticed that, is it typical that we have easements running through the building? This is number 43.
Are you talking about
I see a water easement and I see a drainage easement.
I think everything is outside of the footprint of future buildings.
So on this one, some of it, I guess this is all proposed. It should not be in within any of the building footprints.
Okay, just maybe in the parking lot or something.
It is, are you specifically looking at the Lot 4 easement
Yes.
right there? Yeah,
Yes.
that's in the parking lot, south of the building, north of the property line.
Okay, it just looks like the building would go there. Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Would you like for me to read through the conditions that I added? Did you have-
Sure.
It may cause some additional discussion. So the staff report conditions, just reading into the record here. There are a couple of conditions related to the engineering review. So the conditions thus far from the staff review were, number 1, proposed grading around basin shall be revised to maintain required slope. Number 2, emergency overflow weirs shall be modified as needed to increase the storage volume in a storm event. Number 3, overflow from basins, modification to the existing driveway, proposed new driveway access on the southern side of the property, and proposed multi-use path need to be reviewed and approved by IDOT. Number 4, rooftop mechanical units found to be visible shall be screened. They presented a drawing here that suggests that they will not be visible, but we would review that during permit. Number 5, in the event that exterior trash enclosures are necessary in the future, design shall comply with standards in the zoning code. And then, continuing on with items that I wrote down, condition 6 would be to increase canopy trees on the west side of the property. Number 7 would be clean up the vegetation along the south of the sound wall, maintaining access to that area in the future. Number 8, during this, for the sign landscaping, the junipers would be pulled slightly off of the curbs. Number 9, increase foundation landscaping, especially near building entrances. Number 10, the south entrance is to be signed as for cars only, or no trucks. Number 11, select islands in the parking lots shall be increased in size and reducing the total number of parking spaces as needed.
Can we say that all islands, since there are so few? I don't see more than the southeast corner of the building. There's maybe 5 or 6.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, and then along the side there, yeah.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's probably 20. So how would you like to phrase it?
How did you word it? Say that again.
I said select islands.
How wide are those islands, especially along the east side of the building?
8 feet back to curb,
okay? So if we made them, let's say,
16.
12 feet, 14 feet, and stole that from other parking spaces, we wouldn't be making it 2 spaces wide, but we'd be making the island wide enough for the plant material to have a better chance.
Yeah, we can, I think we understand the intent.
Yeah.
We can do a count and just see what that does. I'd like to have them just look at what that parking count is between now and the board, to see what it does in terms of the number in the land banked area versus what would be built first. So, but I think we get the idea.
Yeah, my point is, 8 feet back curb is pretty tight, but if you can get it to be 12 to 14, that really makes a big difference.
Okay. So we're looking for a minimum 12-foot back-to-back, and try to figure out a good number, working with them on the land bank parking versus the first phase. Okay.
What is our typical sidewalk width?
They're mostly 5 feet. We have some older areas of town that have a narrower. We have a few places where we've got 8 foot. 5 feet's sort of the
So
norm.
why are we looking for a 10-foot?
So we have identified certain locations where we're trying to make multi-use path, like bike and pedestrian, more comfortable. And that's a typical dimension for that type of path. Connects to the Des Plaines River Trail, connects to the path network in Continental Executive Park. So
How does this connect to the river trail?
So the idea, there's 2 places. The idea is to eventually be able to cross right here and connect through the Connor development on the trail that they're installing. That would be the most direct connection. But you'd be able to get up to Town Line Road and get in by the canoe launch. And you can cross down by Woodlands into the half-day preserve.
And how wide is the existing sidewalk? 5?
It's 5, I believe. 5.
And does it need to be replaced if we wouldn't make it 10?
I think it's in decent condition. I think the idea is while redeveloping it, this would be the appropriate time to do it. We have other developments in the future that we would require something similar of. So that is the staff preference, to do it in conjunction with all of the site work that they're doing.
So it's going to be 10 foot along there and then go down to 5 foot at CDW?
For now, yes.
Seems kind of strange.
Are there any other suggested conditions that I missed from the discussion?
Is it theoretically possible to put a limit of truck traffic?
Well, at this point, what they have offered, which was not evident in the staff report, was that the south entrance is restricted. I think geometrically restricted, but also they intend to sign it, and we'll have that condition in. Without having a special use or any other discretionary approval to tack onto it, it would be voluntary, basically, them volunteering to do something like that.
Is that true of all these conditions?
No, there are your realm of possibility with the site plan and appearance. You've got some leeway.
Okay.
I think in terms of use restrictions, it really would be triggered more by them asking for a discretionary approval, like a special use.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, we have a standing motion to recommend approval of the site, landscape, and architectural plans for the property at 100 to 230 South Milwaukee with the conditions that John read off already. I mean, Todd, but Andrew. Oh, I'm dating myself here.
It's okay. It's okay.
And with the additional that we added on as well. Do I hear a second?
So we have a motion made by Chair Pro Tem Heidner and seconded by Commissioner Cotton. Commissioner Cotton? Commissioner Fluno?
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick?
Yes.
Commissioner Nabbitt?
Yes.
And Chair Pro Tem Heidner.
Yes. The second is to recommend approval of waiver of preliminary plat requirements and final plat approval. And the plat may be modified by the final review of the village staff, village attorney, Lake County, or IDOT, or the village engineer. And essentially, does that mean that they would, if there were significant changes, they'd have to come back? Right?
Any material change would come back. There are some minor tweaks to easement language, things like that. Anything that would deviate from the engineering plans that you've seen, the configuration of the lots, things like that would come back.
Okay. Do I have a second on that motion?
Second.
We have a motion made by Chair Pro Tem Heidner and seconded by Commissioner Nabbitt. Commissioner Nabbitt?
Yes.
Commissioner Cotton?
Yes.
Commissioner Fluno?
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick?
Yes.
And Chair Pro Tem Heidner.
Yes.
All right, so both of these motions have carried. I'm going to package this up for review with the scope of the development. It will most likely be committee of the whole and followed by final vote. The committee of the whole would be projected to be June 16th. If you have a preference to have a different date, push it off. If you don't have people in town, just let me know, but we'll assume June 16th until you contact us.
Thank you.
Sure.
And then the next item is approval of the minutes of April 22nd.
We had a couple of minor changes. I had distributed a copy via email. We'll give them just 1 second to clear out.
Yeah, you want to wait a minute?
Yeah. Ben to come get his toys.
Oh, yeah, he went to his toys. They were samples. We're still meeting, so if you could hold it down. You want to come up?
All right, there was the original distributed minutes were modified. I have heard there were a couple of minor modifications. I'll be making those regarding certain statements that are attributed to people. So with those corrections noted and the additional section that I had included for the 22nd, do we have a motion? We have a standing motion. Do we have a second on the minutes?
Second.
And we can do a voice vote on that.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
All right. Thanks.
Abstentions? Okay.
Thank you. Just a short development review today. We had Raising Cane's opening yesterday. It was well attended, probably the most excitement I've seen for a new development in a long time. Farmer's Best has pushed their opening back a few times. They're now expecting to open on June 24th. Construction continues on Kitty Academy. The Nest is nearing completion. Countryside is now occupying the other portion of the building, so they're moving along. And just as an update on board action, recently the Connor McShane development that you heard in the April meeting was ultimately approved by the board. They are moving into permitting now. And then there have been two, if you're curious to go back and watch these, there have been two concept discussions with the board, both of which will be in technical review for the next few months, but We should see probably late summer, early fall public hearings on them. Cedarhurst is would be just south of the Connor McShane development. It is a 80-unit assisted living and memory care facility. It is the property that connects directly to the signal that was shown on the site plan tonight. And then Guzman y Gomez has apparently closed all of their U.S. stores.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Yeah,
and
immediately.
All because of Vernon Hills.
so
Pulled out of the U.S.
the village board had a concept discussion last night. PNC Bank is proposing to open an additional location using it as a very visible spot for their sort of new prototype building. They serve a lot of retail business clients in this area. So it's good for them to have, this is just repeating what they said last night, good for them to have a very central location near their business clients. And that is technically considered to be a special use because the back of the building has a drive-up ATM on it. So that will come to you following technical review. We are anticipating.
Where is that?
It is the top fitness building that was supposed to be Guzman y Gomez.
Oh, okay, that's how that.
Sorry, that was my, that all stayed up here. And then our next meeting, I haven't published it, but I have one item officially in for June 24th. I've got 7 for 7 right now, so let me know.
I need to appear in front of the Lake Forest Historical Preservation that night.
Okay, so we're down one. We're down. So I'll send out an official save the date, but that's the next, and that would be the River's Edge condo building, the townhome development to the east of it. That would be their public hearing, and then we have a adult day service.
Wasn't that already here? River's Edge.
River's Edge it has not come to you guys yet.
Is that on Milwaukee?
It's there's a townhome proposal at the rear of it.
Which was something else before.
It was going to be a second condo building.
Okay, so they changed now. Okay.
These are rentals, though.
The last time the commission saw it was 2015, if that's what you mean.
No.
Right?
Yeah, there's a lot further east of it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
When you drive in,
And those are rentals.
They would be a rental. So that's the next meeting.
which they're gonna be rental,
That's what they're proposing.
River's Edge?
No, the townhomes,
The townhomes next to the river's edge.
Next, okay, it's nothing to do with River's Edge.
just shared access.
Okay, oh boy.
So that's it for me.
Okay.
I have just a couple of small issues. One, the old extended stay, which I believe is a Motel 6 or Super 8 or something.
It's a 6 suites. It's under, I believe they're under the Motel 6 umbrella.
Does not appear that they've mowed yet this year.
We have been in touch.
Okay. And then Perry's still has wooden temporary signs that are leaning against their permanent sign that say now open.
Okay.
And it's been 2 years. So
Still true.
they are still open.
Not at night, it's not.
But I don't believe that those signs were part of any type of approval.
Yeah, we'll
so
talk to them.
Thank you.
And also, since we're having people look at stop signs, you can look over at Marketplace, is it? Over where Home Depot and the
Okay.
discount shoes.
I don't know if this is the correct forum, but I did email Andrew. I mean, I would like to see, now I'm going to show that I don't know names of anything, but walking across into the Vernon Hills Athletic Complex, there's a lot more traffic now. People also go fast. And I've started crossing the street with my boy to take him to soccer practice. And, no one stops at that crosswalk, even though it has signs that say stop. I've seen in other communities raised crosswalks, ones where you can hit a light and stuff like that. And I think for safety and also just in developing the area, like I would like to see, more done to kind of make that safer. And Andrew, I know you said you guys applied for a grant for something, and again, I don't know if this is the right venue to bring it up, but I'm hopeful that that goes somewhere.
It is in the hands of Public Works. The full design has been done. They're working with 128 to do a Safe Routes to School grant, given the proximity. So that, I believe, made it for this last grant cycle, and so we're waiting on approval, I believe. But I'll give you a better update from Public Works.
Well, thank you very much.
Anything else?
Guess that's it. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
You do. A second on that?
Yes.
Okay. And all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned.